Welcome to Owl About Yarn, episode 5. It's the 21st of May, a Thursday, and I am trying to record this podcast really quickly while my kids are out in the garden, so I'm just going to be looking like that every now and again just to double check that they're alright. I'm styled today by my daughter, who is, as you may be able to tell, princess obsessed, and when she heard I was podcasting today, she said that I had to wear the necklace and the tiara. So, I fulfilled my promise. I've worn it, I've shown you, I'm going to take it off now. Good. So, how is everyone? How has your week been? Well, it's been a week and a half, hasn't it? Because it was the weekend before last that I podcasted. Mine has been a bit odd. A bit busy and not busy all at the same time. So I've been out on a little trip, which I'll tell you about in a bit. I have had a birthday, not mine, my daughter's birthday, and that was a phone that buzzed and I don't know where it is. I have done a little bit more shopping. Do you know, I go months at a time without buying yarn and fibre, even though my husband wouldn't agree with me. But I do. I go months at a time without buying any, and then it all seems to come in a rush. So there'll be nothing else now for months probably, but yeah, well, that's what I tell myself anyway. Anyway, I completely forgot to say, my name is Jenny. I'm in Cardiff in Wales. You can find me on Ravelry as Jenster79, and everywhere else including Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, and Etsy as Owl About Yarn. And the sections I wanted to talk about today are works in progress, finished items, out and about, acquisitions, and finally loose ends. So if we dive into works in progress, I am still knitting my Jaywalker socks. So let me just sit up, make myself more comfortable. Sorry if I wobbled the camera there a little bit. I've made some progress. So the little clasp is where I was last time I talked to you. So I've turned the heel and started down the foot. So I'm doing alright. Another couple of days, if I have a couple of days just to work consistently at that, and that should be done. And that's one sock, and then I think what I'll do is I'll do a little mini sock then, just for something that finishes quicker out of my own yarn towards that sock garland I was telling you about. So I'll need to make another sock blocker to go in that, because they're all going to have little blockers in so that they all look nice and neat and tidy. And this is knitted from using 2mm Knit Pro Symphony needles, the wooden ones. They're fixed circulars, not the interchangeables. I don't know, do the interchangeables go down that low? I don't know. Anyway, these are fixed circulars, and they're okay. I do find though that the needle tends to come out of the join a little bit at the ends of each row, so I have to sort of push it back in, which is a little bit annoying. And this is knitted out of Knit 1 Crochet 2 tie-dye sock yarn, and that's 80% wool, 20% nylon, and I'm keeping it in my Star Knits TARDIS Explosion, or Explosion in the TARDIS bag. I still love this bag so much. Just look at it and it makes me happy. Right, so that's the first work in progress. The second one, I finally started my Tonks Togs cardigan. No, jumper, not cardigan. And that's from the unofficial Harry Potter Knits magazine. And it's going to look, can you see it? It's going to look like that. All cabley, all flowy. And that's going quite well. It's not the fastest knit I've ever done, and I don't know if you'll be able to see very much other than there's the cables and the colour changes. That's actually the beginning of a row there. Hang on, if I get it round a bit further. So this, I think, is the front of it. I've done two and a half pattern repeats so far, and I think it's about 7 to 8 I worked out before I get to the arm divide. So I've got a little way left to go on that, and I'm using Wendy Fusion, which is a 50-50 wool and nylon blend. Is it nylon or acrylic? Acrylic. 50-50 wool and acrylic blend, which I've had for a long time. And as I said before, I was just sick of seeing it sat in my stash, this sweater's weight of wool. I just wanted rid of it. So this is usually, and I forgot to bring the bag in, but this is usually in a bag that I made myself. On the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet group thread that I told you about, what am I talking about, thread? In the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup group on Ravelry, I'm a Gryffindor, and a couple of years ago there was a speed challenge to knit a market bag or crochet a market bag as fast as possible, and you got more points the earlier that you handed it in. So the first person got 40 points and the next one got 39, 38, 37 or something like that. And I think I came in 8th out of 20 or 40. I think it must have been 40 people, 10 from each house. So I was quite chuffed with that. But anyway, I lined it as well because I'm not very keen on string bags, so, and I knew I wouldn't use it. So I lined it with cotton, and that's now a knitting bag for me for sweaters or blankets, some bigger things, because it's quite a big bag. I'll try and remember to bring that next time, because I'll still be knitting the jumper anyway for weeks, so I should remember. And then the only other work in progress I've got is my spinning. I've been commissioned to do a custom spin of some of my own fibre. So this is Owl About Yarn. I think it's roughly equivalent to the Sparkle Owl yarn that I do, except that this is 70% merino, no, 75% merino, 20% silk and 5% stellina. So it's more luxurious than the Sparkle Owl yarn, which has nylon for strength if you're going to make socks out of it. But I've spun the first half up, and that's the first bobbin, and if I just wiggle it a little bit in the light you should be able to see some of the sparkles there. And this is, I'm really pleased with it actually. It's coming out really consistently. I'm aiming at fingering weight with it, and I don't know if I can pick off a little bit there. You can see it is quite fine. It's not focusing, is it? It's spinning up quite finely, so I'm pleased with that. I think that I'm doing alright with that. So I'll start the second bobbin now this evening. Hopefully that'll be finished by the end of the weekend. So that'll be good. I'm quite excited about that. It's my first custom spin. Everything else I've just sort of spun as I've wanted to, you know, so this is the first time that somebody's actually saying to me, can you spin this a particular way? So yeah, it's quite exciting. And that is all of my works in progress. Next section, finished items. Now, I've been going a little bit crazy with the spinning. I'm maybe slightly addicted, but I just love it so much. I love just everything about it. I love it. So, did I show you this last time, or did I just tell you about it? My Aquifer Blue-Faced Leicester, which was my own fibre from the shop, which I decided to spin, and it's going to go in the shop. It's more turquoise, more greeny than it's coming out on that picture, but I was really pleased with how it came out. And do you know what I haven't done? I haven't written down the yardage that I got. I've got a feeling this was near enough 300 yards for 100 grams, this one. So it was sort of maybe a sport weight, a light DK, yeah, light DK. And then of course I had the normal leftovers on the one bobbin, so I Navajo plied that and just got a little mini skein. And I seem to be acquiring these mini skeins of sort of Aran weight yarn, so that might end up being another blanket eventually when I've acquired enough. But the next one I finished was my Sarah's Texture Crafts Polworth that I got at Wonderwool, her Precious Rocks colourway, and I was really pleased with this. So that's that, 2-ply, and I think it's come out really nicely. I like the barber poling. but I've no idea what I'm going to use this for. Yeah, enough showing off. And of course, there's another chunk left on the other bobbin, so I've got some Navajo plied, which is also nice, and I can't decide which one I like more, the barber pole or the one that's solid. I think the barber pole is more interesting to look at, but as to knitted up, I don't know which one's going to be nicer. But I'm really pleased with those anyway. It spun up beautifully, that Polworth, and it inspired me, which I'll tell you about in a minute, to buy quite a lot of Polworth at John Arbon's mill. So, next I was spinning some fibre to take to John Arbon Mill open day, and I finished that, and this was alpaca, Polworth and merino dal, which I overdyed this sort of brick red colour, and I spun it up and then Navajo plied it so that it's the 3-ply equivalent, and it's a bulky weight yarn. So I spun this and I was all set to just take it as it is to the mill to enter into the competition for mill membership. And then the night before I thought, doesn't really look like much, does it? You know, it's just a bit sort of, it's just wool, you know, I haven't made it into anything. And I knitted something little, and I'm really glad I did, because oh my goodness, go on the Facebook page, I think it's on his Facebook page, maybe Instagram, and people have knitted the most amazing things. There's one woman and she'd spun this incredibly fine lace weight yarn from their fibre, and then I think it took her 3 weeks to knit up this enormous, it had to be 6 foot across, circular lace shawl, really intricate. Oh, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I knitted Ollivander. He's an owl puff, that's the name of the pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. He didn't take very long to knit at all, but he's very cute. And I finished him literally 10 o'clock Friday night, and we went on Saturday morning. So he came with me, sat in the front of the van all the way to Devon and back, and then as soon as we got home, Erin adopted him. So I've just managed to pry him out of her hands so that I can show him to you. So yes, this is Ollivander, named for Mr. Ollivander in the wand shop in Harry Potter, of course, because I thought Mr. Ollivander was quite wise, and owls are supposed to be wise, and he needed a name that wasn't Ollie, or a more traditional owl name. So that's another finished item. Then, oh yeah, what I should have said was that red was spun up for Erin because she wants a bonbon bunny of her own, and she picked out that fibre when I dyed it and said she wanted me to spin that for her, and I said that's absolutely fine.
I want a drink.
Sorry about that, I got interrupted. One of my kids rushed in from the garden in a great flap because he needed a drink. So I've dispatched him back outside and banned him from coming back in until I tell him that I'm done. So where was I? Yes, so that red fibre was supposed to be spun up for Erin for her bonbon bunny. But when it was spun up, she told me it wasn't red enough and she didn't want it. And she's not usually, well, she is spoilt, but you know, she doesn't usually get pandered to quite that much. But when it comes to spinning and knitting, I don't really mind, because it just means that I get to do more spinning. So I let her go through my fibre stash, and she pulled out the incredibly pink fibre that I bought from Wing and Wool Works at Wonderwool, and said that she wanted that because I didn't have any red that she liked. So I said that's fine. Merino and silk for a toy for a 3-year-old, because she's 3 now. Fine. So I spun it up, and here it is. And again, it's Navajo plied, so it's a 3-ply equivalent. And I'm really pleased with how that came out. Or is it? Hang on a minute. No, it isn't. I'm lying, because I've got a Navajo plied mini skein, which means this must be 2-ply, which is, I should really remember that. Yes, it's 2-ply. It's because it's all quite similar colours, so you can't see any barber poling really. Yes, 2-ply, silly me. I think there's about 160 yards. I know there's more than enough for a bonbon bunny anyway, so I'll be casting on him in the next couple of days if she gets her way. But I do want to finish that sock first, because it's bugging me now that it's just sat there staring at me half finished. So that, yep, that's all of my spinning finished items for today. But I should have the turquoise done and ready to show you for the next podcast. Knitting, you've seen my Ollivander owl puff already, and also I finished my bonbon bunny. He's so cute, and he looks really blue. Oh, hang on, that's a bit better. But it does look as if he's wearing, he's got separate yarn for his legs and arms to his body, but he hasn't. It's just the way that it's spun up. Because if you look, that ear starts off quite purple and goes to pink, and then that ear is sort of lilac-y pink and goes up to pink, and then his body. So that's the order that he was knitted in. But yeah, he's super cute with his little fluffy bunny tail and his Ami eyes, pearlised. So they're slightly sparkly eyes as well. I'm really pleased with how they look. Erin's already bagsied the pink eyes that I bought, which are just the same except they're pink, for her bonbon bunny. So hopefully they'll look as good in that. But yeah, he's really cute. And he hasn't got a name, but Marie, hi Marie, down in Somerset, says that he needs to go and live with her. I just had a message not long before I started recording. He needs to go and live with her, and she'll call him George and give him lots of hugs. So I'll think about George for a name. I'll let you know. And that's my only finished item, apart from Ollivander. He was quite little and quite quick. But I have been busy with my spinning, as you can see, so I think I've got a bit of an excuse. So, next is out and about. So Saturday, my dad, my lovely dad, hi Dad, because you'll be watching as well, drove me down to Devon in his camper van, and it was a glorious sunny day. The forecast was bad, but it turned out to be wrong, which is fairly typical around here. And we had a beautiful sunny day to go down to Devon. We set out quite early and allowed plenty of time so that we stopped in a lay-by, and Dad cooked me bacon sandwiches on the oven in his camper van and made me a cup of tea, which was lovely. And we got down just as the mill was opening at 10 o'clock. And it was brilliant. It was so nice. It just had such a friendly feeling, I thought, and I really, really enjoyed it. We did the tour and watched John operating all of the machinery from the carder right through all of the combing machines, right through to the spinners. And then we went upstairs where we saw where they wind the yarn onto bobbins and then wind it into skeins and tie them off. And then they had all of the buckets and barrels of fibre to buy, and they had yarn in a marquee at the front to buy that was on sale. So I might have bought a little bit. Now, I didn't bother bringing the undyed fibre down to show you because it all really would look the same on a podcast, but I did buy a kilo of Polworth, which I plan to dye and put some of it at least in the shop. We'll see how that goes, because I don't promise to put things in the shop until they're dyed in case it all goes horribly, horribly wrong, because I only put things in the shop when I'm happy with them. So I bought some Polworth, and I bought I think it was merino and silk. I have written it down so I wouldn't forget, but I don't remember right now. And then I bought a little bit of almost all of the coloured fibres that he was offering. So I apologise in advance for the rustling. There's going to be quite a bit of rustling because it's all in plastic at the moment. There's this one, which is, I think I'm right in saying this is merino and zwartballs, which is a sheep, I think locally to them, a herd of sheep locally to them in Devon, Devon zwartballs. I think it was my dad said that sounded like it should be a swear word, which kind of does a little bit, oh, zwartballs. But yeah, I think that will be a fun one, and that was called Firestarter, that colourway. I don't know if they all had names, but that one did. And this one is just merino. If I hold it back here, is it a better colour? I don't think I'm going to get very good colour down here either. I don't know what it is about the colour, and it's probably the camera, because it's only a little webcam camera on my tablet. It's not high tech. But this is gorgeous anyway. I think it must be on colour blended merino because of the brown streaks going through it. And I don't think that that's dyed. I think that that's come from, like, they've got brown and white alpaca blended together and then they've over dyed it, like I did with that red. So that's it's just all so lovely. Just want to spin it all right now. And then this one is merino as well, and this is grape. The others I've got 100 grams, but this one I bought 200 because it was so lovely, and I thought perhaps I'd be able to spin something and make Erin a little bolero or even a matching accessories set or something, you know, hat, scarf and mitts, if I got enough of it. So, and again, I think that that's probably a couple of different colours of merino that's been dyed and then all blended together. And then finally is this merino, I think this is the merino and silk blend, and it's, oh, my oldest son, the one that I've just thrown out for barging in unannounced, wanted to make a bed of this because it's just so soft and cushy. He just wanted to curl up and have a nap on it, and I can see why. So it's got these lovely streaks of green running through it, together with the turquoise, and then the white, which I think is the silk. But yeah, oh, just makes you want to spin 24 hours a day. Wool-wise, they've got the ends of some dye lots that they were selling off. So I bought a few different colours of DK weight knit by numbers, and these are them. So these are mostly going to be knitted up into gifts for family. These two together definitely for a Fair Isle hat. I'm not going to say who it's for because it's a secret. And maybe these two together, because I'm not going to use a lot of the white one. It will be mainly blue with white accents or cream accents. So then the red and the cream together for another gift. And then maybe if I've got enough, we'll have green and cream, or maybe green and cream and a bit of red. That'd look nice together as well. We'll have to see. But anyway, I was really pleased with those. Nice things to keep me busy. Oh, and what I should have said is this is 100% merino double knit yarn, and it's the Knit by Numbers range that they do. So that's cool. So yeah, so we stayed there until about 1 o'clock. I think we got there down there about 10. Stayed there till about 1. And as I say, we had the tour of the mill machinery, and I met a nice man from Yorkshire, I think, who sells undyed yarn. So we had to chat about what sort of yarn I dye and what sort of yarn he sells and things like this. That was interesting as well. And then I saw Sarah from Sarah's Texture Crafts in the car park, which was nice. It's nice to see familiar faces. So. And it's nice to be going to enough fibre festivals now that I see familiar faces and that it's not just a once in a blue moon sort of thing. You know, I have the chance to put names to faces and actually remember, because I'm not the best at names. So if I have met you and I should know your name, please don't be offended if I don't remember it, because I really am, and I always have been awful with remembering people's names. Anyway, so that's going off point entirely. So we stayed there till about 1, and then because it was such a nice day, we decided to drive up to the North Devon coast, because I don't think I've ever been. Now this is where Mum will say that I went when I was 3 months old, and I really should remember, because she does this all the time. I went to Scotland when I was just a few months old. So whenever I say I've never been to Scotland, she'll make the point that actually, yes, I have. So we drove up to the North Devon coast, and we saw some beautiful scenery. I'll put a couple of pictures in at the end of the podcast. And we drove all the way along over the top of Exmoor National Park, and then we went to Minehead and got fish and chips, and then drove home. And Dad and I were both absolutely exhausted afterwards. I'm not surprised. Dad had been driving since 7 in the morning. I think we got home about 5:30 or something, so it was a long day for him. But I was just overexcited, I think, and I got completely worn out and ill the next day, as it turned out, but it doesn't matter. So I got home and I had Happy Post. I ordered my first package from Fondant Fibre last week, and it arrived very promptly. I couldn't resist, and I'll show you exactly why. This is even crinklier. She released this packet. Can you see through the plastic? A sample packet, 150 grams, and it is Shetland Merino Bamboo. A sample pack of 6 different colourways that she's selling. But I just thought, wouldn't that make the most gorgeous mashup? And I think I've mentioned before, I see she's known as Naturally Nitty, Jessica from the Weasley Sisters podcast. I see her doing these beautiful mashups, as she calls them, and I always think, oh, they look so good. So I think I'm going to give that a try with these little sample Harlequin Bites, they're called. So yeah, that's Fondant Fibre. That was what tempted me, and then while I was there, I thought, well, you know, I've got to pay postage, I might as well make it worth my while. So I treated myself, and also because Erin had made me spin up my fibre that was my waking up fibre, I thought I'd better buy some more. So I got this colourway, Gone West, inspired, I think it said, by the designer Stephen West and his use of colour, and they're called Fuzzlings, and they're I think they're combed top, but they're sort of little balls of combed top all wound up, and it just looks so cheerful. I thought, well, go on. So I had them, and then I might have mentioned I've never spun from Rolags or Poonies before, so I'm saying so an awful lot. I'm sorry about that, I'll try and stop. I bought some hand-carded Poonies in the glitzy colourways. They're all different colours, but they're 2 packets the same, so I only need to show you one. I think it's 50 grams in a packet, and there's 1 Poonie in each colourway, and I think that's going to be great. And they're sparkly. I can't resist sparkle. I'm interested to see how they spin up. I think you just pull a bit off the top and then feed it in and spin like that. I don't know. So this is going to be another mashup. Just spin all of one packet, spin all of the other, and ply them together, or something like that. Or maybe I'll split and spin half of each Poonie and then the next, you know, move through them like that, and then ply them all together or something. I don't know. It's going to look good, and it will be a learning experience, which is all good. Finally, on Monday, was my daughter's birthday, so my mum and dad came round for tea and brought her gifts and cards and that. But they also brought a present for me. My dad had gone out after the mill sale. He'd gone onto Amazon and had bought the Fleece and Fibre source book. And I'm thrilled to bits. I was so excited I could just have sat down in a corner and started reading it and kept reading. In fact, I could just sit and read it. And it's just lovely. It's tells you about almost every animal. Well, I think it's probably every animal I could think of, but it tells you a little bit about every animal that you can get fibre from the spinning. So let's see, what do I use? Let's see if I can find it. Blue-faced Leicester sheep. 84. Let's have a look. There you are. Whoops. Uh-oh, losing my book. Where are we? There you go. Blue-faced Leicester. Now you know what a blue-faced Leicester sheep looks like. Although I was disappointed, I looked up Zwartball's sheep to find out what they look like, and they hadn't got a picture of them, they just got a picture of their wool. That was a bit disappointing. So if you're watching, next printing, get a picture of the Zwartballs. I want to see one. Anyway, I was really pleased by that because I do want to find out more about where the wool comes from and what breeds of sheep produce wool that are good for what things, you know. So this is all part of my education. Rather than just learning by actually buying the wool, I can go and read about the sheep and the animals and find out where they come from as well. There's a map here, a world map on the inside covers, which tells you roughly where the animals all come from. And then, because they're quite concentrated in, for example, Britain, you've got an in-depth one of Britain and Northern Europe. And what's the bottom one? Oh, Australia and New Zealand as well, yeah, because obviously they've got an awful lot of sheep over there. So it's just really interesting, so thank you, Dad. I'm really enjoying looking at that. I'm dipping into it every now and again. It's cool. Oh, what I forgot to say was that I got a little sample from Fondant Fibre with my order of white-faced woodland, which I shall have to look up in my book because I've never heard about it. And also a tea. Hang on a minute, because we need to have a look at this now. A pucker 3 ginger tea. There we are. And a stitch marker with a moon and a star. So that's nice, that got in my little notions tin, thank you very much. It's nice to know I'm not the only one that puts stitch markers in with an order. So that will remind me then of her, hopefully, when I use it. And I'll think of going back to her then, because it's lovely and it's really nicely packaged as well. And that finishes off my acquisitions. I've just been told by my very clever tablet that I only have 15% of my battery power left. So I'm going to talk fast and finish up. I think I'm at around about the half-hour mark anyway. So loose ends, my final section. As I said, it was Erin's birthday on Monday. She was 3. My husband took the day off work and we played with her in the morning. I wasn't feeling too clever, I'd been ill the night before, so it was quite nice that we didn't have any strenuous plans. She acquired 4 princess dresses. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen a parade of princesses when she's dressed up in every outfit, and she'd just live in them if she could. She now officially has 1 princess dress for every day of the week, completely spoilt by her godmother and her aunties and uncles and me. But it's her thing, she just loves dressing up. She's a great little character actress. I'll put pictures up at the end, because there's one picture in particular where she dresses up as Elsa from Frozen, and she stood there next to my spinning wheel for a photo, and she said, and she was stood like this, like this, only with her hands low down, but you wouldn't see my hands. And she'd got her glitzy ring on that came with a jewellery set that somebody gave her, and she was stood there, and she wouldn't smile, and I said, come on, give me a nice smile. She said, no, Elsa stands like this, and she doesn't smile, Mummy. So, I wasn't allowed to have a smile from Elsa, but she would smile for Anna. She has 2 different Anna dresses that were new, and by the time I was taking a picture of Cinderella, she wasn't in the mood for smiling very much by then, because I think it was after a nap, and she wanted to run off and play, and she'd been through the grocery shop that morning wearing a dress, so yeah, she was just a bit fed up by then. But she looks very cute in them all, and she's got these clippy cloppy plastic play shoes that she's absolutely adoring playing with, and she's just having so much fun, and all these necklaces, and of course the tiara. So she's got a spare now, which is why I got styled to wear one of those, and all these necklaces. There are just beads everywhere in my house at the moment. But yeah, so she had a lovely time. So she was wearing this little Princess Anna dress to go out for her birthday lunch, and we took her down to Cardiff Bay, and it was incredibly windy. And if you can imagine, this little, she can't be much more than 3 foot tall, if that. I should really measure her and then I'll be able to tell you. She's not very big anyway, she's quite dutty. And, oh sorry, dutty is a sort of Welsh expression for small and cute. You know, she's not dirty, she's dutty. She had this big, to the floor princess dress on that was hooped as well. The bottom of it was hooped, and as much as she was going forward, she was going sideways, because there were these crosswinds just blowing her across the plaza in front of the Millennium Centre. Bless, we really had to grab hold of her so that she didn't fly into the bay and bob away across the waves. But she thought that it was brilliant. She got a tiara on, she got her necklaces on, and the waiter in the restaurant made a big fuss of her and wrote happy birthday on her pudding for her, so she thought that was brilliant. And man in Tesco made a big fuss of her the next day and bowed to her and called her princess. Yeah, so she's been having a wonderful time. She took herself, well, she didn't take herself, I took her to Sainsbury's yesterday, supermarket. She had some birthday money, and there was one thing on her birthday list. She didn't have a long birthday list, but there was this one thing she wanted to check out, and she didn't get one. And we went to Sainsbury's, and she was in luck because it was in the sale. So she got a checkout, she got a microwave, and she got a stroller for her doll for £16, which really isn't too bad. I think it was, what's that work out, about $25, if that, maybe? Yeah, so she was absolutely thrilled to bits. So she's been playing with them non-stop and all the money, and she's got a little scanner next to the checkout, and there's a microphone to call the supervisor. So she's been calling the supervisor to come to the tills all day. But it's really fun. What else? I don't think there's really anything else to talk about. I've got a couple of parcels to send out. I've got another Starbucks mug. After I showed you that Starbucks mug I bought for Denise from the Knitting Den podcast, somebody else got in touch and said, oh, I'd love to have one of them. So I said, well, I'll swap you a mug for some yarn for my sock yarn blanket. And she was like, really? Okay. And we sort of got into a conversation and agreed to put in a couple of extra goodies as well. So I've been out and got a couple of extra goodies, and I'm putting them in a box. I need to find a box or make a box that's going to be sturdy enough to survive the transatlantic trip with this mug inside. But I've got plenty of bubble wrap, so I think we'll be okay. And pack that up, and I'll get that sent off soon. And then I'm doing an unofficial yarn swap with Maria. Hi Maria! And I know one skein that I'm sending her for definite, so I need to decide on the second skein, and I've got bits and pieces, as I say. I've already been out and got those, so I'll be putting them all together and parcelling that up and sending it off really soon. And I think that's about it. I've got no plans for this coming week, apart from I need to get my car serviced. Very exciting. But we're not going anywhere or doing anything I can think of. It's half term for the kids next week, so they're going to be home, which I don't mind. I think quite a lot of parents don't really like their kids. Well, it's not that they don't like their kids coming home on holiday, but it's a lot of work, isn't it? And it's a lot of noise when you're used to being nice and quiet between 9 and 3. But I don't mind too much because Erin misses her brothers so much when they're in school, so she loves it when they're home. And they do tend to play with her quite a lot, so it stops the constant sort of mummy, 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 mummy. So that's quite nice. I can maybe get a few things done that I couldn't get done if they weren't here. But we haven't really got any plans for half term. We might do a day trip or two, and I'm seeing my sister-in-law and her little girls on one of the days. That'll be lovely because they're going to be moving away soon, so hopefully we'll get to make the most of seeing them lots and lots while they're still living nearby. Not that they're going a huge way, it's only going to be about an hour, hour and a half down the road, but it's different to just being a quarter of an hour on the other side of the city. So that'll be a big change for us. But yeah, I think that's about it. I haven't got many Fibre plans at all, other than just keep on doing what I'm doing. Finish that spin. Finish that sock. By the next time I podcast, I should have finished the sock and the mini sock and the spin. So I should have a few things to show you. After that, I think I'm going to spin up the gradient fibre that I got from Sarah's Texture Crafts, because it's sort of playing on my mind. So I want to do the thing where you divide it in half and spin one half as it is, and then divide the other half again into thinner bits and spin it up and then barber pole it. And I can't remember what that's called, but that's my plan for that one. So thank you for watching if this is your first time. Thank you for coming back and watching me again if you've watched me before. Hopefully I'll see you in a week or two for episode 6, and until then, happy knitting, happy crafting, happy crocheting, happy sewing, happy spinning. Have a lovely time. I hope that you have a good week, that the weather's nice where you are, and that you have lots of fun. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye! So I finished recording and realised that I completely forgot to tell you 2 important things. So the first one, I said so again, sorry. The first one is that this weekend the May Fat Fibre box goes on sale, and I'm a contributor again, and I wanted to show you the yarn that I've put in. They're just mini skeins in the box, but I have, I think, 4 full-size skeins of this colourway, and I really liked it, so I wanted to show you. This is May Day colourway, and it's a lovely mixture of pinks and greens, and that will be available in the shop by tomorrow, so I need to take the pictures and pop it in the shop. But this is 100% merino. It's really soft and cuddly, and it would be lovely for accessories like shawls, hats, mittens, and it's just lovely colours, so I wanted to show you that. And as I say, that will be in the Fat Fibre box, which you can get by going to fatfibre.com. And if you sign up for a newsletter, they send you an email telling you exactly what time it's going to go on sale, and giving you a link to the website where they sell them, so that you can be queuing up and waiting for when it goes on sale. But I think that's going to be tomorrow, which it's Friday now because I didn't get a chance to finish off this podcast yesterday. So tomorrow is Saturday the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd of May. And the other thing I wanted to say, which I completely forgot, is that I got to 100 followers on Instagram, so thank you ever so much if you are one of my Instagram followers. I really appreciate it. Thank you for bearing with me, especially this past week with all the princess dresses. And as a thank you, I'm going to be doing a little giveaway on my Instagram account. I've picked out this yarn, and again I'm having trouble with the colours, and you can't even see. It looks solid on the camera, but it really isn't. It's royal blue and purple and teal and a sort of pinky purple. It's really beautiful, and I will try desperately hard to get some accurate colour pictures to put onto the onto my Instagram page when I advertise it. Not only do you have a chance of winning this yarn, you have a chance of winning coordinating stitch markers, which I've made. Can I get this to focus? So there's a bunch of shimmery, crystally stitch markers in matching colours, and then you've got a doodad for marking how far through your project you've got, which is on a lobster clasp with an owl hanging off it, of course, for Owl About Yarn. Or that could be a crochet stitch marker, but I quite like to mark where I get to in a project, so that's what I'd use it for if I got it. And I think here I've got 8 stitch markers plus the doodad, which is the technical term. So if you want to have a chance of entering that, make sure that you're following me on Instagram. I'm Owl About Yarn on Instagram as well, and it's going to be a simple one, just like the post and tag some friends to come and look at it. I'm not going to ask anybody to repost the picture if they don't want to, because I think that feeds get a bit clogged up with people reposting giveaway pictures all the time, and it annoys me when I see the same picture about 8 times through my feed, so I don't want to make anybody else do that. And that is it. They were excuse me, they were the 2 things that I wanted to tell you about, and I've told you now. So once again, thank you very much for sticking with me and watching all the way through this slightly fragmented podcast, and I will see you in a week or 2 for the next one. Bye!
Between there and there, slower, faster, starts out, fly, puts a twist in, hold it together.